Good morning, friends. Thank you to each and every one of you for being here with us today. Introducing myself, I'm Monica, Internet Insight Job Group. Once again, I welcome you all to IceCube Pre-Summit Member Conference, and we are proud to be able to host it here today in this virtual platform. Before we get started, I just want to give you all a list of awareness regarding the importance of virtual recruitment in the forthcoming job market. Today, employers have greatly adopted the use of virtual tools to source, hire, and engage employees to ensure optimum staffing across functions. Undoubtedly, new age virtual hiring is playing an integral role in minimizing business disruption and making people dynamically adapt to changing needs. After all, for an organization to successfully run, the experience of both employees and customers must be made seamless. With the temporary closure of the usual route to recruiting talent, organizations are taking the virtual highway to accelerate the hiring process with positive results despite remote working regulations in force. The whole world has become smaller with the use of internet and everything is made easier for better application. The internet and e-recruitment therefore face a very bright future. The future generation who are growing up with computers are not likely to use the traditional methods of recruitment. They will probably primarily rely on the e-recruitment method. It has been found that e-recruitment is effective in terms of saving recruitment cost, reducing time to hire, and helping companies in developing competitive edge, marketing image, and attracting right skilled candidates. Online recruitment is also effective in terms of managing talent process. That is also considered effective. It also found that e-recruitment will likely to grow in coming years. Amidst all the gloom and doom, the industry is putting up a show of resilience. The HR function is waving hope and assurance for employees and job seekers. New age digital hiring platforms are breaking the stifling chains of incertitude in these times. Employee hiring has taken a turn for the better, and new age digital service providers are continuing the momentum in providing transformative employee experience. During this lockdown period, employees and employers heave a sigh of relief thanks to virtual hiring tools and techniques, and that's how the virtual hiring has become now survival to the fittest in this digital world. Here, I want to add a note for graduating students and young professionals who are feeling especially uncertain about their future. Ambiguity and feeling like you have no control during this pandemic could make you more anxious and that could make you lose. It's important that you take back control of your career. There is huge difference in wanting a job and making it happen. It's also very important to seek help from right experts who can motivate you and make you acquire the right skill set for the right job. So seek help from the right coach and trainer who can make it happen for you. Continue to apply for roles that are relevant for you. Engage in active networking, follow up posts and interviews, and most of all, don't give up your hope. Thank you. Now I invite Sudeep to take over.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you so much. As Monica said, virtual tools are the need of the hour, and they're how they're actually effective than the conventional method. So we can actually sum it up as they are the modern solutions for those modern challenges. And for these modern solutions to be easily understood, we need some expert advice, right? So we have with us Mr. Ranjit Keshav, sir, who is the CEO at Inside Job Group, a motivational speaker and a leadership coach. And we have with us Mr. Shyam Gopinath, who is working with Suntech Business Solutions as an assistant manager HR department. Mr. Shyam Gopinath will actually throw the light on how the virtual campus placements are going to take place, how the modern solutions will be implemented in this scenario, in this area. And so I welcome Mr. Ranjit Keshav, sir, to address the audience and speak about. Sir, please. Sir, audio.
Thank you, Sudev. Thank you, Monica. First of all, I just hope all of you are staying safe with your family during these tough times. Things are not easy for anybody. It has not been easy for me or you or anybody around this world, and none of us are no exception, as I said in my opening keynote in the group. So wherever you are, just stay safe. That's all I want to say in the beginning. Initially, let me just tell you that we just had the plan for the summit, which is supposed to happen on July 31st. That was the only plan that we had in the beginning, and the summit was designed for your preparation towards campus placement. So it was just about the preparatory part of it. Once we started getting in touch with our clients, so we decided that we are not going to put it out in the social media as an open registration where anybody and everybody can come in and be part of IceQ's team. We have never believed in that sort of a marketing. We never believed in that sort of a selling also. We wanted a bunch of self-motivated students to come and be part of IceQ. We were not in the opinion of putting out a poster saying that the pre-summit is happening, please register. No, I never believed in that, and I will never believe in the fact that anybody and everybody can come into a quality sort of a program. I wanted self-motivated students who have high aspirations, who have high ambitions in life, who wanted to climb the rungs of the ladder in their life and career. I wanted such kids to come. And that is precisely the reason why you were admitted into this platform through a process where we got in touch with the respective placement officers in your campuses. We could have easily crossed 100 or 200 numbers. Let me tell you that it was quite easy for us to get 200 people as part of IceQ to begin with. We never really wanted that. There were colleges who were willing to nominate more than 10 or 15 students, but we said no. We would not like to have 200 or 100 as part of our group. We wanted to keep the group very minimal. So the initial number was 50. But when we started talking to other colleges, so we had fantastic response from 2 colleges from Karnataka. Sahyadri was one particular campus, and there was another campus. I think they're not attending the session today because of their exams. But otherwise, the colleges in Kerala have been fantastic. So I would like to thank all those colleges, the placement officers who have supported me in this venture, who have taken their time, effort, attention to nominate some fantastic self-motivated students from their campuses. So each one of you, I can see 67 participants in the summit. Out of that, I believe 60 are students who are part of IceQ. I would say that, fantastic. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for taking that decision to be part of IceQ. And I really, really hope that this will add a lot of value to your journey forward. So why exactly a pre-summit? You need to understand, like a lot of people asked, so do we need to attend the pre-summit? What is the relevance of a pre-summit? Because anyways, we are part of the summit. Now you need to understand one thing, which is, see, the definition of success is very, very simple, right? The definition of success, I would like to define it as the right preparation, meeting the right opportunity with the right people. So 3 things are very, very important. Your preparation is important, the opportunities are important, and you need to be with the right people as well. You go wrong with one of these verticals, you are not going to attain success in your life. Understand? I can tell this to you from my experience of being in an industry in the last 15 years. I was just a student like you 15, 16 years back. And I had to go to Pune to find an opportunity to start my career, because those days in Kerala, there were hardly any opportunities. Did I have the right people to mentor me? Did I have the right people to guide me? Quite unfortunately, I never really had them. Because I come from a family where nobody is educated. Me and my sister, we are the first line of graduates in our family. So there were no people to guide us. There was absolutely nobody to tell us what is the right step, how to go forward. So today, all you kids have the access. You have the access to internet. You have the power to access information anywhere across the world. Like today, we are sitting in different parts of the world, and we are connected into a common platform to access people, to access information. That defines the sort of privilege that you are in. But 15, 16 years back, I was not in that sort of a privilege to access information, to access people. So the right opportunities were very limited. The right access to the right people were very limited. But of course, the preparation was there because it was pretty much in my control. I could buy an R.S. Agarwal textbook. I could buy an Arun Sharma textbook and prepare for my CAT or prepare for my campus recruitment training or whatever it is. But the opportunity and the right people were not there. Today, if you see, the right people are available for you. You can just email Ranjit Keshav and the Ranjit Keshav will reply to you, or you can email anybody, or you can get in touch with anybody over LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. People will get in touch with you. The preparatory part, of course, you have different online programs. You have YouTube, you have Coursera, you have Udemy, where you can go and learn things. But how about the opportunity part of it? Do we have enough opportunity for you to go and disseminate your access to people, your preparation for certain programs? Now, then we started thinking about, okay, what are the kind of opportunities that these kids will have probably in the next 1 year? if you look at last year, the recruitment market was fantastic. The primary recruiters in Kerala for engineering students were, they are TCS and Infosys, as everybody knows, and they recruited in huge numbers last year. And so if TCS and Infosys, if they are hiring in huge numbers, that means the recruitment market is at an all-time high, because TCS and Infosys pan-India are the biggest recruiters for engineers as well as for MBA people. Let me tell you that. Even they hire MBA graduates. So once they were hiring in huge bulk numbers, we were quite optimistic with the fact that next year the recruitments are going to be like super, super good. Our kids are going to have great opportunities. The market is at an all-time high because especially with a company like TCS, they opened their national qualified test a couple of years back, ensuring that the opportunity reaches every eligible kid in India. Until about 2016-17, like especially if I take the case of Kerala, TCS used to go to selective campuses like 10, 12 or 13 or maximum 14 campuses. Infosys was pretty much the same. They used to visit 10 to 12 campuses. And on papers, Kerala has roughly 130 engineering colleges, and probably 25% of those colleges have MBA institutes as well. So once TCS decided that, no, we are not going to restrict our recruitment with 14 colleges. We are going to open it for anybody and everybody who is eligible enough to attend interview with TCS will get an opportunity. Now, that means, yes, the opportunity is going to come and knock your door with everybody. So anybody who is a participant in this summit right now will definitely have the opportunity from TCS. You will definitely have the opportunity from Infosys. You will definitely have the opportunity from ICICI Bank, South Indian Bank, Goldman Sachs, Bosch. So you take the company name, they will perhaps give you an opportunity at some point of time. Now, why exactly you need to think about the preparatory part of it? It's very, very simple, right? Until last year, the companies will come to your campus for placement. So physically, you get to meet them, you get to attend the return test in your college lab, you finish your 60-minute return test in your lab, you get the results in 30 minutes, they take you for your next round of interview, which is a group discussion. So they will take you 15 people in a room, they'll give you a topic, 20 minutes, you give your group discussion, and then they'll tell you, okay, 5 people are selected, 10 people are rejected, then they'll take you to the next round of interview, which is a technical round of interview. So if you're an MBA person, it will be your first round of HR interview. And once that is done, the final round of interview will be an ops manager interview, a project manager interview. Everything will happen one-on-one, face-to-face. But this year, things are going to change. I was waiting, in the month of March is when we were wondering, we didn't know what actually hit us with the pandemic. So I think Jan 29th was the first case that was reported in Kerala. And I was doing my training program in Trivandrum, and I was supposed to go to Trichur, to Government Engineering College to do our training program. And the corona cases were just coming up, but we didn't know what actually hit us. So February just went very easy. People were talking about it, but nobody took it seriously. In the month of March, where I was supposed to do 5 projects, all the 5 projects were called off. Starting from MA College, Kodamangalam, where we were supposed to do a huge project. And then I knew, okay, I need to prepare myself for a crisis. Still, I was thinking, okay, in a couple of months, things will ease up. It will be easy for me and my team, my students to come back to campus and resume our training and their classes. Because the numbers were like 15, 20. I remember there was this one particular day where our Honorable CM said the number is around 30. And my friends started messaging me saying that, oh, 30 is like huge. 30 is like a huge number. What are we going to do? And today when we are doing this pre-summit, I think yesterday the numbers in Kerala has crossed 1,000 for the 4th or the 5th day. And now it has, the consequences of what has hit me and you has been, it is multiple folded right now. It is like, into 100x or 200x. Now, then I started thinking, okay, now this is not easy. This is not going to get over very soon. Let me tell you, in all good faith, with all honesty and goodness, that I don't see campuses opening up before the vaccine comes to our country. This is my assumption. I want to be wrong. I want people to come and prove me completely wrong. But I strongly believe that the colleges, schools, offices fully functional are not going to open up till the vaccine comes to our country. You keep all the politics aside, I strongly believe that the vaccine is going to take a minimum of 8 months, or 8 to 10 months before it reaches our country. That is my assumption. That is my reading. As I said earlier, I reiterate, I want people to prove me wrong, but this is my general assumption with all the rationales that I have gathered with my reading and my interaction with people across the world, with my friends and acquaintances. In that case, if colleges are not going to reopen before March, companies are not going to come to the campus because there is nobody there. Corporate people are not going to come there. And of course, they are not going to put their life in danger by coming to a state which has got more than 1,000 numbers every day. Nobody is going to take a chance. So I was thinking, okay, what will be the next step for companies like TCS, Wipro, Cognizant? So I was making my own assumptions. They'll be doing this, they'll be doing that. And as we planned the pre-summit, the first information that I received from one of the top tier 1 company in the country, which is TCS. I mean, I'm not sure about the concrete information, but this is a hearsay that I have received, which is TCS is developing a platform and they are going to announce a date to the entire strata of campuses in the country for a placement, which will be proctored over a webcam communication, and the return test will be conducted somewhere in the month of November. That is the latest news that I have received from one of my friends who's in the industry, saying that TCS will conduct their placement in November. It is not concrete, it is just a hearsay. Now, I've heard even Cognizant would probably do the same in the month of September towards the end. And I'm very sure once TCS and Cognizant and a couple of other companies start their recruitment through this sort of a medium, other companies will definitely follow. I can give you one more example, which is I had requested a few of my students to apply with Byju's app. I think it was around a month back when I asked them to register for the interview. I was quite surprised when I got a call from 3 of them when they said, so we are joining next Monday. And I said, but you just applied like 3 weeks back. And they said, no, sir, all the interview rounds, the round 1 to round 4 was finished over, a virtual medium. And they had joined the company last Monday. One of my interns, he joined a company called Allianz last Monday, and his entire interview process was finished over a virtual medium. Now, if companies like Allianz, companies like TCS, companies like Cognizant, companies like Byju's can shift into the virtual mode, then you could be rest assured that probably in the next 12 months, we are going to see a tectonic shift in the way campus recruitments are going to be carried out in our country. See, for us, maybe the virtual interview mode is alien. It is new. But if I look at the European countries, if I look at the US, if I look at UK, this has been happening for years now. I remember a friend of mine, he said, I'm attending my interview over a Skype call, and that was 2015. So as usual, we are late to the party. It is no surprise that we are late to the party, but this is going to happen. This is the reality, guys. You like it, you don't like it, you accept it, you don't accept it. This is going to be the reality in the next 12 months, that each one of you who is part of the IceCube pre-summit, a final year MBA student, a final year engineering student, who is aspiring to get a job in the next 10 to 12 months via a campus placement process, you have to be prepared to attend your interviews over a virtual medium from your home. This is as simple as that. You will attend your return test, you will attend your technical interview, you will attend your GD, you will attend your personal interview round exactly like how you are, part of this platform right now. When we send out the request to few people, they said, sir, why not Google Meet? Why can't we do it over Zoom? And then I asked them back, if a recruiter tells you that they would like to do the interview over Zoom, what are you going to tell them? So there are security issues. I am only comfortable with Google Meet. Do you think the company will come back and say that, oh, fantastic, Mr. X, we feel that you have a security issue with Zoom, so we will go to Google Meet? No, they're not going to say that. They're absolutely not going to say that. They say that, what would they say? You're not comfortable with Zoom? Thank you so much. We don't need you. We don't need you. You please be at home. You be comfortable with your Google Meet and a recruiter who will actually listen to your whims and fancies. So we need to be adaptable. We need to be adaptable. We need to be flexible with our options. And most importantly, please understand that your attitude will determine your results in the next 12 months. That is the reason why with every keynote speech that was sent to the WhatsApp group had this particular point, that we are looking for candidates with great attitude. Skill could be taught. We can train you on different skills, but nobody can teach you a great attitude. You need to be self-motivated. You need to have a great attitude. And I wrote this in one of my articles last week on LinkedIn, when I said that when you don't have control over a crisis, you need to have control over your attitude. Because if you don't have control over a crisis and you don't have control over your attitude, you're going to struggle. And we don't want that. So at least with a bunch of 60, 70, 80, 100 students, we wanted them to be part of an online community. We wanted you to come, talk to us, meet us, be proactive enough to understand what is going to happen next. So the pre-summit, to sum it up, is going to let you know about the preparatory part of it will be discussed in the summit, but the kind of opportunities that will open up in the next 10 to 12 months in terms of virtual communication, how you need to be prepared, what are the expectations of the company when they do something on virtual communication is what Shyam is going to talk about. I hope I have set the expectation absolutely right. And you have any questions regarding the summit, the pre-summit, we are opening a discussion forum towards the end of the pre-summit. We have a 15 minutes open forum discussion where you can ask all your questions, and I will be more than happy. Shyam will be more than happy to respond to you. So thank you so much, everybody. Once again, I appreciate your presence, your time, and your interest in our platform, IceCube. And welcome you all to our platform. And I'll see you guys again for the summit. So over to you, Shyam. Thank you.
Oh, Ranjit, that has been very power-packed, actually. It's always tough after your start. I thought you will be taking it towards the end. Anyways, no, I just want to try to meet whatever I can. I hope I'll be able to meet all your expectation. Anyways, my name is Shyam. My dear power-packed students, right? Okay, so I work as a HR business partner with Centec Business Solutions. Right now, we are given an opportunity to discuss about the HR recruitment, the entire gamut, the changes in the business trends. Okay, so I think before I start, I have a presentation to share to you all. I think Ranjit, I'm just sharing it now.
Sure.
You're all able to see this?
Yes, I can see that.
Okay. Right.
Okay. I hope all the participants can view the PPT. Okay. There is an option called as reactions towards the bottom of your screen. You could make use of that. Yeah. Okay. So Matthew Benny says yes. Thank you, Matthew. I really appreciate your prompt response. Shiv Karthik, Akash, Raju, thank you. Godfred, thank you guys. Absolutely fantastic. Agarnath, thank you. Yeah.
Great. So friends, what's next? What's next? That's the thing that we all have now. Here, when Ranjit gave me this chance, me being a business partner, I have been exposed to the whole gamut of HR, which starts from the recruitment, from the hiring till the exit of an associate. And the biggest thing is I'm exposed to a lot of emotions of employees due to a lot of factors involved. Okay, so that is the biggest thing today, which we as a HR team exposed to in any organization. Okay, so before I start, I just want to begin with a story. This is a story which has been. I'm sure I'm audible to you all, right? Hello.
Yes, Shyam, absolutely.
Okay, yeah. I would like to start with a story, which is a Zen story, which inspired me a few years back. On what's your value? What's your value? It's like this. There was a father and a son, and one day the son was asking his father, "Father, what is the value of my life?" And the father was looking into the son's eyes and just was looking into his eyes, and then he just gave a stone, a small stone, something like this, which is then displayed. And he gave a stone and asked his son, just take the stone and take to the nearest merchant in the village and just show it to the merchant and tell, just when you display this, the merchant will immediately ask you what is the cost. Please don't say a word, but show two fingers like this. And the son immediately went to the village and he found a merchant. And this man just immediately saw the stone. And what he did is he just told, what is the cost of the stone? He told, what is the cost to the son? And the son didn't respond to anything. A good son, it seems. And he just showed two fingers. And the merchant immediately told him, I can give you $2 for this. I can give you $2. And then can I take it? He didn't say anything, and he just took the stone, came back to his father, and told his father, the merchant is ready to give $2 for the stone. And then the father, after listening to this, he told, son, now I have a request again for you. Take this to the museum that is nearby in the city, and find an in charge in the museum. The rules are simple. Don't say a word about it. Okay, and if they ask about the price, just show those two fingers. And the son happily leaves to the museum. And after wandering around 10 minutes, he just finds the in charge. And the in charge, who's a middle-aged man, he took the stone and he just examined it. And then he told, what is the cost of the stone? And the son didn't respond to anything. And then he showed two fingers. And the museum in charge, this man, he immediately told, I can give you $20,000 for the stone. Okay, and can I take it? He didn't say anything. He took the stone back, came to his father, again told the same thing. The museum in charge is ready to give $20,000 for the stone. And the father again said, I have one final request to you. I want you to take this to the gold merchant in the town. Just go and show it to him. And again, if he asks, you know what to say? Don't say a word, and shows two fingers. He just went to the pearl merchant in the town. And the pearl merchant, on seeing the stone, he was carefully examined 10-15 minutes. And then he was awestruck. And he told, I was in search of this stone for several years. And where did you get this? How much should I pay you for this? He didn't say a word. He just showed two fingers like this. And then the merchant told him, I can give you, the gold merchant, the pearl merchant. In fact, he told him, I can give you $2 lakh for this. $2 lakh. The son was surprised, came back happily to the father, and then he told the gold merchant, in fact, he was ready to pay us $2 lakh for the stone. And the father immediately told, while closing, son, now you know what is the value of life. The value of life is where do you place yourself. And today, what is your value is, where do you place in the marketplace? The marketplace could be your business. The marketplace could be an organization. The marketplace could be even a self-start. So what is the kind of value that you are going to add to any kind of business, or any kind of value that you're going to add to a business to transform, is what the ultimate story is here. Okay, now let's get back to the facts. Let's see what is happening. Okay, keep the story in your mind. What is your value? Let's know what are the certain facts that has happened in the business with this COVID crisis. Okay, with this COVID crisis, what is happening? I mean, we are partnered with several survey teams. As an organization, we were partnering with EMA partners, Gallup, and all those organizations. And the survey, which recently received 3 days back, which we received, is 40% companies have frozen their hiring for all positions during this COVID crisis. 40%. But 31% continue to hire during this COVID crisis time. 31% are still hiring for all the positions. 16% companies replace only the employees who have left the organization. And 11% continues to hire at all levels. And these 11% are the agricultural, chemical industry, IT industry, pharmaceutical. 10% plan to use this time for strategic hiring. Okay, so strategic hiring could be leadership hiring. Strategic hiring could be hiring the best people from the industry. That could be freshers also, by different models of recruitment. Okay, so but we are still optimistic that 31% and 11% companies, earlier it was like 80% companies were hiring in all positions. Now it has drastically come down to 31%. If you see, they continue to hire at all layers. Now, why do you want to change from the technical recruiting? Days are gone, actually. See, it's just 4 months of this lockdown. Since March, until March, we have had a very severe plan as an organization. I represent an organization, Suntech. We were planning to go to different parts of the country to hire at least 100 freshers as a first batch, 100 freshers. Okay. And what we were planning to do is we do months of recruitment, and then we hire, and then we give them the offer letter after 30 or 60 days. Okay, so when this lockdown happened, the entire strategy got changed. We were completely changed. And while we doing a survey inside our organization, and this is also an industrial trend, while working with Hacker Earth, we got to know this information. Any position that gets closed during even a campus recruitment or even a lateral hiring, that takes 50 to 60 days. Okay, and average man-hour investment is 10,000 hours. And you know what is the cost that on an average we take for a hiring? For a hiring of even a fresher to a lateral hiring or to a leadership hiring, it takes on an average cost is 30,000 as per other industry standards. And the biggest challenge is it's not about the cost, it's not about the time here, it's not about the manpower time involved. The biggest time and the challenge is here. The average number of assessment rounds, 6 rounds of interviews, and we even had 8 rounds of interviews. The last 2 rounds were with the CEO of this organization, even for a fresher. Okay, for a fresher, we were doing such a stringent hiring, and the hiring layers were 8 rounds. Now, what has changed here today is in Suntech and across the businesses, now the assessment layers is just 3 to 4. Believe it or not, it is just 3 to 4. Okay, we have reduced the 8 layers to 3, and the 4th one is the final one, which is closing, and the offer is rolled out within a day or 2. That is the standard practice that we have been following in the last 2 weeks. Okay, now you may think why the old model will not sustain, will not work anymore. See, changing the hiring model. Another survey team that got us a result 2 days back, which is a July survey, and they told that we have completely shifted to virtual hiring, 89%. Okay, it is just 11% to hit the 100 now, and moved recruiting staffing to remote work. Cancelled recruiter attendance at live events. Anyone can do the recruitment now. You don't even have to be a HR recruiter. Even a hiring manager can initiate a recruitment from the office. Shifted to virtual onboarding, 75%. Okay, as Ranjit told, you will have to be ready from wherever you are. And hosted new virtual events, career fairs. We are doing a different approach here. Created new content for career site and social media channels. So if you look into the first 2 things, I'm sure for the next 1 year, we are not going to change this model of virtual hiring. Okay, because companies have started feeling that this is somewhere cost effective and efficiency as well. We are able to save a lot of time of each and every recruiter and each and every resource managers as well. So I'm sure we are not going to change suddenly from this model. Now, to make you all a little accustomed to the practices of what kind of recruitments will happen, there are going to be a lot of technical assessments. Okay, I'll tell you what was happening before. Earlier, when we were hiring a fresher, we go to the college, we tell the advantages of joining the organization. We just give the brand value, and all those things are standard and set by the HR manager of the respective recruitment teams. And then we will give a technical round, which will be a blank sheets, okay, with logical tests or coding knowledge would be tested like that. Okay, now a year back, we have even changed a year back. We are a small organization, in fact, with 900 associates today. Okay, and we were able to foresee certain changes in the recruitment, and we changed to HackerEarth, and we have started resourcing from Codathon. Okay, I'll tell you a quick fact from last week. We have lined up 800 resources from the Codathon challenge. Okay, and we are hiring just 25 associates from them as the first batch. Just 25 associates are getting hired out of a big lot of 800 Codathon guys. So see, that is the volume. We are just hiring only 5% of the whole crowd. And through these assessment platforms, HackerEarth, HackerRank, and a lot of other assessment platforms are working with us and working with different industrial organizations now, and we are hiring through these platforms. And you know what, how quick the results are published? The results are published within the first day itself. It completes even with your offer letter. Believe it or not, the offer letter which got delayed 50 and 60 days, months back, it just is getting rolled out within a day. Within a day is our record. Last week we did it. And within the month and within this month, and that is 31st of July, we are supposed to onboard 25 freshers inside our organization, which was 100, which was planned in the month of March. In the beginning of March, we were planning 100, and now we are at 25. I don't want to scare you all here. Okay, I just want to tell you certain facts to accept the reality. Actually, that's why I think Ranjit wanted me to talk here. The reality is this: the hiring is considerably reduced. Okay, but it's not for all. It's for the competent people. They can be among the 25. They can be among the any numbers that the organization decides. And HackerEarth and HackerRank assessments are for the technical developers, the coders, aspiring coders, developers. Those people are assessed through this technical assessment. Wherein, just imagine a non-tech person, a BSc graduate, who has completed as mathematics or science, or anyone who want to scale up into an industry now. They are also planning the UCAT, Universal Cognitive Aptitude Test. Even we were using this UCAT for hiring the non-tech, which is the senior managers, the mid-level managers, and even the leadership team. Now we have rolled out even to the freshers whom we will be hiring as a non-tech candidate. And again, it's the same. Why do you want to adapt this? The results are so quick, and the results are accurate, and the results are so quick as well. We are able to save a lot of time. So you can keep this in mind, that industry is not going to be going to a paper model to check your evaluation and sit and evaluate. The recruiters will have to check with the key results or whatever you have done. So it's just the results comes that easily. It's like any other online examinations now. And your competency is not just evaluated based on your technical ability or your core competence. Is also evaluated by your attitude. Ranjit told it right. Your attitude is going to determine your altitude. But that was something that we all tell, right? But how do you measure someone's attitude? It's very tough to measure some individual's attitude. Okay, so again, industries have adapted to an assessment platform to gauge your psychometric behaviors. Your behaviors is measured through different psychometric parameters. Psychometric assessments are also done. Okay, so this is an assessment sheet, a psychometric assessment sheet that was taken for a mid-level manager in my organization. And if you want to see how a person is gauged, if you look into the left side here, okay, you see factor, emotional stability, extroversion, agreeableness, focus, openness. Okay, this was a middle-level manager's psychometric assessment test report. Okay, and see, if the person here who is a mid-level manager or who's an aspiring leader, if you see the emotional stability of the person, it's 9. There's no right and wrong towards the left and the right. So if the score is 9, resistant to stress and negative emotions. This person could be much more positive person who can emotionally take decisions, who can be stable in terms of a stressful environment. Okay, and but if you look here, his focus is less, and openness, agreeableness, extroversion. Extroversion, it shows as 4 because quiet, reserved, reflective, introvert. So these a person now, as Ranjit told, your behavior, you have to be self-motivated, right? You have to be self-motivated. If you're not self-motivated, try to do something to uplift your spirits here, because organization is going to gauge what is not just your technical strength, it is also just going to gauge your managerial ability, leadership ability, what you are as a person. If you look into this side here on the right, you see optimism. See, this person has scored 10, has a positive and optimistic outlook. So there are a lot of factors. Health management, he takes care of his health, even his emotional control is right, calmness in a very stressful environment, creativity. He can be an innovator, he can be imaginative person who can drive certain things. This networking ability is 7. See, all these things I want to show you is, if you are all engaged or exposed to such kind of test, we can just find out what kind of person you will all be as an individual. There's no faking it, and I'm sure the results are 80 to 85% are accurate. Okay, the 15% there could be certain variations, but we also have certain other parameters to measure and tell this person is the right fit or the wrong fit for any team in any organization. So when you see to the next slide, here I have shown you, see, there are other parameters that could be interesting for you all working under pressure. See, whether you as an individual will be able to work in a stressful environment, and this person has scored 9 here, drive towards doing certain things, networking, reading people, influencing. His influencing is less, but we can scope up, we can help him to increase it, because we find a lot of other factors that is positive, so we can help him to improve this as well. If you see conflict style, because tomorrow when you are recruited, you will be placed in a team environment. Okay, you will not be working in silos or as an individual contributor. So we also want to know what would be your strength to work as a team. What kind of person? This person is rated as accommodating, he collaborates 4, forcing 4. Forcing is something he will never agree to some person. But at the same time, if you see here, accommodating is the most powerful factor for him. And avoiding certain issues, unwanted issues, he'll be able to avoid. And accommodating. Why do I want to show you all these things? Is what is the present recruitment is, how we are sourcing an individual into an organization is what I want to show. You will be evaluated based on your leadership ability, what kind of leadership you are having as an individual. Democratic is something we encourage others to speak, we encourage as a team environment, we'll be able to focus together, and the person is equally visionary. Just one point here, if you see here. So I want to show you all those things to depict what an organization is expecting from each individual. It is not just going to be your technical assessments alone. Okay, I want to reiterate the fact that your attitude is clearly sketched out here. See, this manager is evaluated on all parameters and see what is the result of him. We can gauge this person in 3 factors: task-oriented roles, people-oriented roles, idea-oriented roles. With this report, just see innovator, he is rated as 6. At the same time, a maker, he is just scored just 2. So he will not be able to do a routine task here. Okay, but at the same time, he can drive at the rate of 7. He has got out of 10, he has scored 7, which means he will be able to lead teams. He is a promoter. He can promote ideas. He can help the teams as a helper. He is a good collaborator. So if a hiring manager has this report, he just takes up based on his resource requirement. Let's assume I want to have a successful project. I just do the psychometric test for those resources, and then I'll just form the team based on this for the success of my project. I will not take a person who is who has to do a meticulous job regularly, and I will not give him a leadership role. Okay, let's assume if I'm giving a leadership role to a person who has scored driving factor as 2, or innovation as 2, or a maker as 10, let's assume the person will definitely fail, because his inbuilt behaviors and his inbuilt strength is reflected in these kind of assessments. And again, I want to reiterate how much it is factual. It is 85% successful. Okay, so industries have these two major options. One, you will be assessed based on your technical assessments, and there are a lot of platforms that will be assessing. And the next thing is the psychometric test, which is part of. We have a lot of other vendors like Metal. I don't want to list you out the names of those vendors now, because that will not be helpful. But I want to reiterate what Ranjit told. Your attitude, that is the most important thing. What is your value? So if you want to build up your attitude, if you want to do all those things, just be ready for all those things. Start working on your attitude, not just your competency or your technical skills alone. Okay, and I think IceCube will be a good platform for all that, I'm sure. And let's see what we have solved by this. We are able to save a lot of cost, okay, and identifying the top candidates. If we go with these tools, with this assessment metrics and tools to any of your college, let's assume we are doing this test for 100 members. We can easily identify 1 or 2 picks, the best picks from these tools. And there are certain organizations have even failed to get the 2 picks also out of 100, 200 assessments, because they were not able to be at par. Okay, because people were not technically competent with these tests, HackerRank and all those tests. They showed less scores in all those tests, and then many failed even in the psychometric assessments as well. Okay, so make sure you have a perfect balance about your technical competency and also about your attitude, your behaviors, your leadership behaviors, and what kind of value that you create or carry with you. Okay, so I'm sure our recruitment is not going to be much more into remote systems. Virtual onboarding today, this was something March 23rd when we heard this lockdown. The first thing, in April 1st week, we had our first onboarding, which was for a few leaders and few lateral hires were there. And we immediately switched to the virtual onboarding mode immediately. We were able to do it as quick. Even today, we had a plan for onboarding all those 25 associates in the month of August in a virtual platform. I'm sure Zoom is the platform that we are going to use. So don't worry, organizations have their own security plan. They have their respective security mode. So please don't go for any reasons or don't try to tell some excuses there when you have an opportunity to be hired through Zoom platform as well. Okay, so what was our perfect learning out of this COVID-19 crisis? Businesses have to respond fast. Here, I would say business is not just a non-living thing. We as an individual, as a collaboration, we form businesses. Okay, every individual should be fast then. That's what we term here. Digitization is here. We are experiencing it. The key to success in crisis is readiness, how sharp you are going to be. And it stimulates your out-of-box thinking. How much you are going to be prepared is what is going to be determining your success today. Okay, let us also accept certain facts. I'm sure organizations need freshers. Okay, we need freshers. It doesn't mean that organizations will never hire freshers, because we need the young minds. Any organization will need this young mind, but at the same time, the hiring will be less. Earlier, Ranjit was telling the fact that thousands of hiring was planned by TCS, companies like TCS, CTS. Even our organization, being a small organization, we were planning to hire 100 resources this year, which is considerably reduced to just 25 out of it. So the hiring is less. We have to admit the fact, but at the same time, don't worry. You need to increase the competency. You need to increase your competitiveness. The competition will be more. So the hiring will be much more qualitative. We will look into the quality of a resource who's getting hired inside an organization. And I'm sure there would be slight compromises on the package, but I'm not sure. I'm not worried, because the quality resources will definitely get the best paid, even now. Okay, so that is a standard. And we also have to admit the fact that there's no going to be physical recruitment. 80% is almost I mean, it's gone. It's gone actually. So be prepared completely for the virtual media, virtual recruitment. I'm sure, Ranjit, I think it was our generation. I mean, 10 years back, we were not much prepared for a virtual recruitment. Today, people are all much more used to WhatsApp and Skype chat. So I think people are just quickly getting adapted for virtual recruitment. But few rules you need to be very much aware. Look into the place where you are. Okay, make yourself so comfortable that you're so prepared for a virtual recruitment as well. Don't take it so lightly, and upskill your learning ability. I'll come to a different on a different page here. Find your strengths. Okay, so guys, I have a question to you all. You can unmute for a second.
Sure. Please go ahead.
What is your can someone tell me what is your goals? I mean, we have 65. What is it? Where is it you want to get placed? Actually, I just want to know a few of those answers. That will be really helpful for me. Can someone respond at least 2-3 responses out of the 62?
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Please introduce with your name and ask the question.
Yeah.
Like I want to tell what should I like. What are my dreams, right?
Yeah.
My name is Kiran. I'm B.Tech graduate from Vimal Jyoti. Currently pursuing my 4th year. So I would like to get into some sales or marketing, a bit of technical, like a techno manager roles.
Okay. When? What is the time that you're planning? Like, what is your time span, duration that you're aiming at to get into a techno manager role?
No, like just I'm pursuing my B.Tech, right? So I just want to get into a management school.
Okay. Got it. Thanks. Yeah, got it. Okay. I can understand. Yeah. Okay. So I think now we are also trying to find our strengths, right? So like Kiran just remarked so well that I think he has gauged his potential. He want to be in a technical stream, and years later, he also want to get into a sales field where he can balance his technical ability and also his other skills by upgrading his other skills, by managerial skills that could be. Okay, so please accept the fact that find a time to build your strengths as well. And while I go to the next slide, I have a mantra always. I think this is some mantra that I've always seen Ranjit always telling this: learn, network. Why do I want to keep it learn twice and network once? Is learning is the most important thing. Okay, today I think years back, 10 years back, when I was just, we were all just trying to look out for jobs, look out for some learning platform. We go to the library, or if we have money, we buy books like those books, or else we go take books from the library, or else there was an internet connection, but our source of learning from internet was quite less, even 10 years back. But today, the platform, it's like amazing, there are phenomenal webinars available on YouTube, and there are a lot of platforms opening up to give free education. Udemy is something that I've been using for quite some time. It has been helping us. And LinkedIn platform, Swayam is something that has been formed by the IITians of this country, and they give free education. Okay, so try utilize your upskill your ability. That's what I would say. And please don't hesitate. There are a lot of platforms. If I have a Udemy thing, if one of my friend just assume I'm studying with one among you. If I have a Udemy platform, if one of my friend is trying to upgrade his skills through the same learning skill or ability that I wanted, I would share my Udemy login ID and password. We just want to help each other also as well, right? Don't forget to help your friends at this moment. Learn again, keep learning. As a HR professional with 9-10 years of a very simple experience, I have completed 4 or 5 certifications in the last 5 months in my field to keep myself upgraded and fight the industry as well, and keep myself shining as well. So that's something that we should never forget. I thought MBA was enough for me years back and my learning is over. No, my learning should be always sharp, and I should be able to implement my learning as quick as possible. So learn and network. I think Ranjit has found a wonderful community year back when I was at iTalk Community Club in Trivandrum. That was a good platform to network. I think I'm part of few other clubs like Toastmasters and a few other HR forums like NHRD, National SHRM forums. So why do we want us? I have a wonderful quote to remember here. You're the average of the 5 members you interact. You are the real average of the 5 members to interact. You interact every day. So what you're going to become is also determined by the person you are interacting with each and every day. So don't forget the fact why you should network. Remember, if I'm in a platform like iTalk or iSchool, I'm sure what would be my knowledge ability, what would I look into it? So I'm just going to look into people like you all. I think that's the strength a networking is going to give you. Remember always this quote, you are going to be the average of the 5 members you are interacting with. And I also want to tell you something. When the hiring is less, can someone tell me who's your favorite sports person? Who's your favorite sports person? Anyone can respond here.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Myself, Ashwin.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. My favorite football sports person is Cristiano Ronaldo.
Okay. Have you seen Cristiano Ronaldo's work ethics? I mean, the practice ethics. Any videos, something like that?
Yes, sir. I usually watch Cristiano Ronaldo's, and the main thing I like about it, he's a good footballer. Mm-hmm. More than that, he's a very good human being. That is, he didn't donate blood because of that. He put any tattoos in his body.
Great. That's great.
We can see there is no tattoos in Cristiano's body because he is a regularly
blood donor.
Donating blood. Like that, okay. I like him.
Why do you like him? I mean, why do you think he's so successful as a sports person?
Because
as a sports person, yeah.
As a sports person, he's very hardworking.
Great. That was the answer I was looking at. Okay.
In this, when I watching the Cristiano Ronaldo's video, in this, that's a lockdown period. Also, he didn't have any games, but also we can see he's very much practicing in his house with his kids, with his family, and all.
Okay.
He's great, and he has a lot of money. He can think, yes, I became the great footballer.
That's nice.
I can
fantastic.
Simply sit in the house. Why I want to train? But he's not like that. He's sustaining his body. We can have that. There's Cristiano Ronaldo's jumping.
Wonderful.
Like that.
I'm impressed by the response, Ashwin. Ashwin, okay, now coming back. Now, if I say the hiring is less and the competition is more, like Ashwin told, Cristiano Ronaldo, even if he is so successful, he is working so hard, Now, the only suggestion I would want to give you all is, if you're practicing for a technical test for 1 hour every day, I want you to upscale it to 2-3 hours a day. Don't give up. Don't just think that 1 hour of coding practice is enough. Or if you want to enhance your psychometric, your behavioral pattern, don't just work 1 hour. I would say, again, increase it to 2-3 hours. That is something that's going to help. Imagine you're all going to be your sports, you're all going to be your legend in your industry. Imagine that have that mindset and then work on it. I would follow these kind of people like Cristiano Ronaldo, even Sachin, Virat Kohli. I would just think immediately, what do they do? They are so successful, but still they work so hard. You know why? Michael Phelps, at the peak of his career, though he was number one, he was just practicing 6 hours, 7 hours, 6 days a week. He just takes 1 day rest. 6 hours a day, which is like that, Michael Jordan. So these kind of players, they have great work. So remember who's your favorite idol. Okay, just try to connect. What do they do in this time? Why they're so successful? Why they are legends? Remember that question. Ask yourself that question. And don't forget to ask, what did I learn for the last 30 days, last 90 days? What is the new learning that I had in the last 90 days? Remember that. If you ask these questions in your mind and also have a networking question for you, what is my first 5 members that I'm interacting with? Who are the 5 members I'm interacting with? Am I just the average? Just go and reflect upon it. You will be sure the average of those 5 members you're interacting with each and every day. Okay. And going back to the final slide, for things to change, you have to change. Today, we have a lot of changes around, change in the economy, change in the financial status, organization change. Don't worry about all those changes, okay? If you are focused on yourself, if you are working on yourself, I'm sure you will be banging a great career. And whatever changes happens in the industry, the recruitments, the assessments, or even the business crashes, if you are focusing on yourself, if you are focused on your values and your vision, I'm sure you will land up at the best place, like we all have landed up. And I also want to tell you something. A few 5 years back, when I was just checking out my interview list, I had 113 interview list as failure. Okay, 113 interviews I failed to land up in a good organization. That I had the habit of writing in my diary, and then is why did I fail? I had cried certain moments for not getting a job 5-6 years back, for not landing up in a right job. There was opportunities given for the wrong career. I was a HR, I was a management student, I was given a wrong role. I don't want to take it up. Again, I take it as a failure there. So like this, when I was just rewinding myself while preparing for this, I was just taking up my old diaries at home. 113 failures I had. So it's not just to tell you for any sake of numbers. So these are the things. So don't worry about what you're going to face, how you're going to face, what kind of failures you're going to adapt. But work on yourself. That is the only thing that I want to leave with you all. The trends would change, but don't change on yourself. Don't keep working on yourself. I would want to end with this. Thank you. Shyam, you can be in touch with me through LinkedIn platform, or even my contact number is this. Okay. Ranjit, over to you, Ranjit. Thank you.
Thank you, Shyam. There is an option to clap for Shyam at the bottom of your screen in reactions. So we could give him a virtual clap if that is possible from all you people. Let me just put it very short.
Thanks.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Sudhir. Thank you, Kiran. Thank you, Ashwin. That is really nice of you guys. Okay, so we are already, the time is 11:30, so I wouldn't want to take too much of your time. This last 10-15 minutes, guys. We have 64 participants, so superb. Thank you so much, guys. It has been a pleasure. Let me just put it, very short in terms of what Shyam said. I was very, very super impressed, Shyam. It was absolutely amazing, fascinating, and so relevant with whatever we were trying to, imbibe through this session. The first point that Shyam said was about how companies will start looking at cutting their cost, cutting their manpower, cutting their resources by moving into a virtual platform. See, it makes a lot of sense, right? For a company which is based out of Bangalore or Chennai or Delhi or Bombay to travel down all the way to Kerala, send an entire team of HR for recruitment to a campus in Cochin or Trivandrum, it's going to take a lot of money for them. And for records to all you people, let me tell you, the cheapest internet connectivity across the globe is in India. And the most expensive is in Zimbabwe. You can go and check. That's from my research for one of the projects that I did last year. In India, roughly, 1 GB will probably cost you 16 rupees or 17 rupees. That's what they're saying. So since connectivity is reaching everywhere, the whole idea of digital India, connectivity is reaching on all the nooks and the corners of the country. Every hamlet, they have internet connectivity, and data getting cheaper. Companies will definitely start looking at cutting their cost and be in their premises to do interviews. So that was the first point, which made a lot of sense. And I'm very sure that even if the whole pandemic is going to get over by next year, hopefully, that's what it should. I still believe that companies will definitely move into a virtual platform for their hiring in the future also. Or maybe we will just see a hybrid sort of a process. Maybe 60% they'll do it virtually and 40% they'll do it physically. But there is no going back to a foolproof campus placement process which is going to happen physically. No, I don't think that is going to happen. So that was fantastic. Second, Shyam spoke about having a great attitude. Yes, of course, that is something that I have been recommending to all my students. You need to have a great attitude. You need to build your competency. Absolutely. And the fourth point, he spoke about the networking point. Let me just tell you one thing, that I don't know how many people are following me on Instagram. I had put a poll on Instagram and Facebook a couple of days back asking, how do you build a great career? So this is my topic for the summit day after tomorrow. So tomorrow, I think, right, Ashik? Yeah, 31st. So I asked this question to my students. How do you build a great career? So I had three options. I think our team had put this on WhatsApp as well. So I said online learning plus personal development, online learning plus personal development plus being part of a community. I was surprised with the poll results when close to around 70 people said with online learning and personal development, you can build a great career. And there were 62 people who said if being part of a community will help. And that's exactly what Shyam said towards the end, that you need to have a good network of people. Only with online learning, only with personal development, you're not going to succeed. You will have to be part of a community where you have people who will share your aspirations, passion for learning, your ambitions, also the opportunities. I can tell you, I have Gautam Girindran in this pre-summit. I have Ashik in this pre-summit. Ashik is working with a co-working space called as BHub. Gautam Girindran is working for a company called Alliance. They didn't find their job opportunities through campus placement. They found their job opportunities through a community. So that networking point, I think, Shyam, that is bang on. I cannot agree more on that. See, IceCube could just do a training program and say goodbye to all you people. No, I don't intend to do that. I want IceCube to be a community with self-motivated, aspirational engineering and MBA students. I want people to be part of the community where we will share the passion for learning, where I learn something, I put it on the community so that my 100 people can learn that. I find an opportunity, a job opportunity with some company, I should be able to put it in that community saying that, listen guys, this is an opportunity for all of us. Let's go and capitalize on that. Because whenever there is a crisis, guys, I strongly believe that we can help each other, we can support each other, and that is the only way forward. And that is the most important thing. And even if we want to be, we want to just stay motivated, it's always better that we are part of a community. Like Ashwin spoke about Cristiano Ronaldo, right? What is the prime principle that we follow in soccer? That you don't play for yourself, you play for a team. You play for a team. You take cricket, you play for a team. And the only way that people will grow is when they are part of a team. So networking becomes equally important. And just the last point that I want to tell everybody is a very, very simple thing. I'm going to ask you a question and we are going to wind up the session. Okay. Can you see a poll on the screen, everyone? Can you see a poll? Yeah. Can you just vote as a fresher? What's your priority? Is it a job or a career? Okay, I'm going to launch the poll now. I hope. Okay, you can see the poll now, right? Okay, so as a fresher, what's your priority? Okay, so, okay, find the type competition now. Okay. Can you guys see the metrics? Yeah? Shyam, can you see the metrics?
Yes.
Okay, superb. That's pretty interesting, right? Okay, 35 says career, 10 says job. Okay, I think we have more people, right? 63 people are there. Come on. 45 of 61 has already voted. Okay, what is stopping other people? I have no idea. Okay. Anybody else? 46 right now. So 36 people have said. Okay. So Kailash says he cannot see the poll. I'm sorry, Kailash. Okay, fine. So let's probably, okay, Joel Money says maybe that is maybe using an older version of Zoom. It's okay, guys, perfectly fine. So we have 37 people who have said that they're interested in a career as a fresher, and 23% has said that they're interested in a job. So last point, and we wind up, guys. I went to one of the IITs, so I wouldn't name which IIT it is. I went to one of the IITs, and so they said, sir, this is what we do. We do training programs for students, for engineering students. So we do leadership training. We do training on interpersonal skills. We do training on aptitude. We do training on interview attitude and personal excellence. the first thing, the placement officer who is in charge of the placement of that particular IIT, he said, we are the IITians, Mr. Ranjit Keshav. I really don't think we would require the sort of training that you are talking about. Because our students are brilliant. They have done their JEE exams, so aptitude, they're fantastic. So once they join the campus, technically, they are exposed to a lot of workshops and projects. Companies come here to take people who are technically brilliant, Ranjit. And as you know, IITians, they are technically brilliant. So we really don't find the need to train our students to get a job. So I had one of my fellow trainers was with me, and he looked at me and he was like, "Seri Ranjithe, namakku ezhuneka, ini onnum nadakkan povunilla, business namakku poyittunde." And this is where I am a killer marketing guy. If there is something that I'm absolutely proud about in my life, is my marketing skills. I might be a bad trainer, I might be a bad speaker, but in marketing, you just cannot beat me. So I just took a pen in my hand, and I said, "Sir, I want to sell this pen." No, I'm not going to pull off Leonardo DiCaprio here. Don't worry about that. I just took a pen in my hand and I said, "Sir, if you just assign me the responsibility to sell this pen, that is my job. But if I can probably have 50 other people under me to sell this pen, then I have built a career." I hope you got my point. I said, if you are assigning the responsibility to sell this pen, that is my job. But if I can probably have 50 people under me to sell this pen, I have built a career. And I said, as an IITian, he will get a job from this campus. But what about his career? I talk about career. I don't talk about jobs. I talk about making an engineer into an entrepreneur. I'm talking about making an engineer into a manager, a vice president, a CEO of a company, a CTO of a company. I'm not talking about making an engineer just an employee of a company. And that is where I want to train your kids. And I said, "Okay, sir, your IITian engineer is brilliant. You take 50 engineers, you put them into a company called as, let's suppose, Bosch. There are going to be 500 IITians in Bosch from different IITs. Now you tell me, once you have 500 IITians from different parts of the country in a company called Bosch, what will be his next level? How is he going to create a differentiator from the rest 499 engineers from other IIT? Because as you said, everybody is brilliant. Everybody's IITian. They all cleared their JEE exam. What is the differentiator here if he wants to go to the next level? You will get a job for him as an engineer from IIT. But will you build a career for him? Will you help him to become an entrepreneur? Will you help him to become a CEO? Will you help him to become a CTO? That is the question. So I am not interested just in selling that pen. I'm interested in making a company on my own where I will manufacture the pen and I will hire 50 people to sell that pen. And for me, that career is important. I want to build a career. And that is the reason why I want to go and push people, help people, train people, motivate them, make them skillful, so that you start thinking about 30, 35 years down the line, how my career should look like. Don't just be interested in a job. I'm just putting it I'm very sure you guys would have seen Bahubali. Would you want to be the king of that place, or would you just want to be one of those subjects? You want to be the king. You take TCS. The employee strength of TCS is roughly equivalent to the population of one of the Scandinavian countries. Can you believe that? The population of TCS is roughly equivalent to the population of a Scandinavian country. So obviously you don't want to be just one of those populace in that country. You want to be the king of that country. And that is what is the objective of IceCube. That we want you to think 30, 35 years down the line. We want you to think in terms of becoming a CEO, an entrepreneur, a CTO, a vice president, not just an engineer, not just an MBA executive who will be selling pens, not just a software engineer who will go and do a software engineering technical job with TCS. I want you guys to buy your BMWs. I want you guys to travel across Europe. I want you guys to have a fantastic standard of living. So if you are looking at a career, if you are looking at 30, 35 years of your life, then you have made the right decision to be with us. We will help you out. We will support each and everybody out here, because we are not here for you to just get a job. We are here to ensure that we build great career for each and every person who's part of this community. And I really hope this made a lot of sense for all you people. And I'll see you guys during the summit. Shyam, thank you so much. Great session, Shyam. Absolutely great session. And in these tough times, if both of us have been able to add some sort of value to these kids, I think that will be perhaps the best thing that we would have done in the last 4 to 5 months.
Definitely.
During these tough times, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you. And Sudev, you want to do a wind up?
Yeah, sir. I would love to. So
Yes.
Thank you, Shyam sir. Thank you, Ranjit sir. So we know how the expectations of the industry has changed. They don't need people who can work. They need leaders, innovators. And so the only thing that I want to tell you is, yes, I'm sorry. There was a poll. So only thing that I want to tell you is upgrade yourself, upskill yourself so that you can uproar in your career. And with that saying, stay safe, everybody. Be safe. And I hope everybody will achieve their dreams and goals. Thank you so much for being with us. Good night.